Hey, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to In the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We are coming to you live and sponsored by our friends at Revelton Distillery out of Osceola, Iowa. I'm Dave Larson, here with my Storm team partner and Cyclone great, Brent Curvey. Brent, good evening. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm awake this time, so can't beat me up this week. I took
Well,
like a
and
3-hour nap earlier though, so
my
Dude, that daylight savings times is no joke.
and
it
you're already
sucked
up
this
early as
morning.
it is with the store, right?
Yeah. So to lose an hour for me was absolutely terrible this morning. So I
So my
came right
daughter
home and slept.
My daughter and I went in for kolache yesterday, and I think
Mhm.
you've gained a new fan. So, for those of you in the Des Moines area that has not had a chance to stop by, you might want to do that. You have some specials, I think, during the week, but it seems like I can only make it in on the weekends. Store looks like it's doing well.
Yeah, everything's good, man. The support has been phenomenal, but more support is always better. So,
That's awesome.
Well, now that you have those pizza ones, now I
yeah.
got now I'm there on lunch. It's not just
I got.
breakfast,
I make them just for you now, just to be, prepared. I keep a couple
right?
in the
I
in the
know.
holster there.
Well, it's a good thing we have nothing to talk about tonight because we've had all sorts of news that came out today in terms of the awards that have been. A couple of our players have been awarded with all Big 12 first team, and we'll get to those. We've also have the men's and women's team. The women Big 12 tournament has already kicked off, and the men kick off this week. So a very busy week in Cyclone athletics. And one thing I want to bring up, though, before we get too far in depth, is that we have a national champion, Sydney Willits, set the personal record in the NCAA long jump, and she is the national champion. Congrats for her. She jumped 22 feet, 0.1 and a half inches. I think
That's
I read that
huge.
correctly. So that's awesome. We have a
That's
national
huge.
champion at Iowa State.
Absolutely. That's dope. Big congrats to her.
That's crazy though.
Nothing easy. And in other
22 feet.
news, the Iowa State Hall of Fame announcements were made. I didn't capture all of them, but former football player Kelechi Osemele was named.
Yeah.
Did you play with Kelechi, or was he just
Nope. I
after
was
you?
he was just after me. Yeah, he was the
Okay.
very next year. I think he got the Chiswick. He was part of that Chiswick era
Yeah,
recruiting class that,
and finished
that
with
guy that
Rhodes.
nobody talks about. Yep, finished with Rose. Yep, yep.
He was when Josh and Jordan were kid captains. They were the first ever kid captains at Iowa State, and he was one of the
Mhm.
captains out there. There's a photo of him like right next to Jordan, I think, and Jordan might get near his kneecap. That's about how tall Jordan
Yeah.
is. It's so funny.
And he may still even today because he's a mountain of a man. Had
He
a
is.
great Iowa State career and ended up getting a Super Bowl
Yep.
in the NFL as well. So another
Mhm.
outstanding Cyclone being awarded. I think some of the criteria, you have to be a 10-year graduate or post 10 years and have to have your degree from Iowa State. So big kudos to the Big O for being named a Hall of Fame with Iowa State.
Big KO. That's huge, man. Another Texas guy too.
Oh, is he from Texas?
Hmm. Yeah, I think he went to Sci, like a Sci Fair, so it's just outside of Houston, but like it's a suburb of Houston out there. So
Well, do we want to start with men's or women's basketball today, Brent?
listen, like I said just a couple minutes ago, it's your world. I'm just in it. So
Oh,
you know,
let's talk a little bit about the men here. So I busted out my 2014 Big 12 championship hat, as you
you
can
had that
see
on in the
there.
shop too, didn't you?
What's that?
You had that on at the shop, right?
You know what? That might have been this one, the
Oh yeah, that's the one you had.
2017. And then
Golly,
upstairs,
just
I
the
have the
man with all the hats,
We
ain't you?
2019.
got so many championships, can't keep track of how many hats we have at the Big 12.
Golly, what's going on here?
Admittedly, I'm a hat whore as well as a running shoe whore. I fully admit to that.
There it is.
So
wrong
busted
with
this baby out, 10-year anniversary. Fred Hoiberg was the coach, and here we are sitting on the eve of the Big 12 championship tournament. Iowa State goes in as the number 2 seed, which they a little bit of a disappointing loss yesterday against Kansas State in Manhattan. I don't know that we were totally surprised by that. Brent, any takeaways from you on the K-State Iowa State game?
I got tuned in a little late, but just kind of seeing, I don't know, the energy up and down the floor. It just didn't seem like us, so to speak. I guess in the past couple wins that I've watched, I can only catch a few games, but the energy just felt a little, I don't know, a little lackluster. Like, do we have to really play this game to win? I just didn't see the effort that you typically see in the other games.
I would agree. I don't know that we've played particularly well in the last 2 or even 3 weeks. Our offensive seemed to really sputter, and that's a lot of the talk on the radio and other podcasts that I've listened to, some of the frustrations with the offense. But same token, I think when we look back in the last couple of years under TJ, that second part of the Big 12 season has really been a challenge for us. Teams seem to figure us out a little bit, and they've adjusted. And we seem to have some struggles this season as well in the second half of the Big 12 play.
That's why personally, I always look forward to the tournament play, because it's like, you see a team a couple times a season, it gets harder and harder to beat them. You know what I mean? Because now we're getting beads on each other. We're picking up on cues and keys. So, it's one of those things that gets tougher. And if we're not at home, the chances typically drop quite a bit. But look forward to the tournament, because there's usually nobody that can really run with us. The guys get to lock in a little bit and freshen up a hair, because we don't have like a super deep rotation either. So, the minutes these guys are playing kind of always sits in the back of my mind of how long they can go, as long as we don't get any injuries. But
I think their defense, they just get tired legs. You play that kind of hard-nosed defense that long, 2 games a week. At the end of the season, you got to be running out of gas.
Yeah.
And especially to your point, if they're playing teams that they've played before, you know what I mean? That's even harder. I'm with you. I think when they get in tournament play with that defense and the turnover ratio that they have, I think they can make a deep run.
Yeah.
They're 12 in KenPom now. So even losing that game, they're still at 12 at KenPom. So
yeah.
I like our seeding chances for the NCAA. Even heaven forbid if we lose this first game, that might actually be good for us to be able to, like Chris said, get some legs back and health, try to heal up a little bit. I understand that Keyshawn Gilbert may have been struggling a little bit just with some ailments, which happened this late in the season, right? You've been playing a tough schedule, and as hard as our team plays, you're just going to wear down and break down over time. And I like the fact that we get a few days here to try to recuperate, and it may not be a bad thing. I hate to say that, but it may not be a bad thing if we lose that first game.
Yeah, rest is necessary, because I don't know what the turn time looks like for tournament ending and then the tournament starting, NCAA tournament starting. But a couple days, man, golly, these guys need it, given the season they've had. Like you said, that stifling defense, man, having to hustle as much as we do to get a lot of these wins. We don't have a deep enough rotation to keep this up, for a long period of time.
Well, and I would have thought we did. We seem to play pretty deep into our bench. In years past, it seemed like we only went 6 or 7, and I feel pretty confident in going up to even 9. Milan Momcilovic, though, he didn't score at all against Kansas State. It feels like we need to get him going again and create some opportunities to get some shots. And I know that we were all texting each other on Saturday. From a struggle perspective, we seemed sloppy on offense and forcing the ball and maybe taking an ill-advised 3 when we could have just slowed down the offense a little bit and run through it a couple of times before taking that first easy 3. I think those are all things that I would believe that the coaching staff will focus in on this week in preparation.
Well, I'm looking here. they might have maybe a 7 solid rotation with Trey King, Lipsy, Jones and Gilbert, Robert Jones, Momchilovich, and Ward. I mean, so that's 7.
You got Curtis Jones in
for
there?
Sure, yeah, that are for sure playing heavy minutes. And then you might see Pavletsky a little bit in some spots. But I'll tell you, the one that goes back and forth for me is Keyshawn Gilbert. Sometimes he looks like he could score at will, and then there's other times he looks like he's completely out of control. Kansas State was completely out of control, trying to make this fancy pass and turning it over and losing the dribble. I don't know what he's doing, but he's completely out of control the last few games, I felt.
We've seen that all year, though. You know, this is a kid, though, that plays his ass off, and he spills it. What I love about him is he spills it out on the floor every single night. I would agree there are some frustrations, I think, with maybe pushing a little bit too hard and forcing some shots. But you have to understand that that's the player that you signed up with, and he's taken us this far. I don't think we can temper that necessarily, but I would agree that TJ's got to somehow get his mindset that, hey, if you feel like you're out of control, here's what you need to be able to do to rein it back a little bit, because he does hurt the team. But the same can be said if you're on the message boards this weekend about Robert Jones. You know, there's some frustration there. Yeah. Another guy that works his butt off, and he's a ton better than he was last year, or even certainly 2 years ago. Yeah. But you have to take him in spurts and understand that I'm going to get these great spurts, and then I'm going to get some that are not as pretty.
That's it, man. I mean, you know, every team has role players, so kind of understanding that and guys fully embracing it. And, you know, if you think, I don't know if Gilbert has gotten so comfortable being able to go score at will that now it's one of those, well, you know, I'm gonna get a little careless, a little reckless. If maybe we tighten that up. And TJ talks to him about being smart, just taking your time, you know, not trying to overdo things, take the easier buckets, and when it's time for you to take over, fucking take over. You know what I mean?
For me, Bob Jones slander is not tolerated on that kid is the leaps and bounds that he's made in 1 year from last year has been amazing. That kid deserves all the 100%. Kudos. I don't want to hear any shit talking about Bob Jones.
And at the end of the day, we have to remember this team was
Twitter's going to blow up.
Right. At the end of the day, this team was picked to be seventh in the league.
7th, yeah.
They're number 2. They were fighting into Saturday to be the number 1 seed. They are going to be a 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. They were 13-5 in Big 12 play, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
They had a great year. So we're being a little bit nitpicky on some of these things just because we want to see them win every game, of course, but they've had a really solid year. And I think as fans, sign me up for more of this. I love it.
I'm just looking. So On 3 bracketology has them a 2 seed in Omaha.
I would take that.
So
in a heartbeat.
They have in Omaha, Washington State, Mississippi State, Iowa State, South Dakota State, Creighton, Toledo. I didn't realize Creighton could be that. I thought they were the host team, but maybe Nebraska is. That seems a little unfair. Creighton's playing in their own gym.
We'll be playing in our own gym if we're that close. If we go to Omaha,
right?
Yeah,
Hilton.
Iowa State fans travel. That's just Hilton.
Hilton West. I know. I had to think about it too. I had to figure out which way it was.
Yeah.
Well, and if anything, I don't think I was going to make the tournament because they laid an egg tonight.
Oh, did they?
They had to win against Illinois, and I don't think they did. Not from the Twitter users that I was watching. They didn't win.
Oh, do they still have a basketball team?
That's a great question.
They did. They lost to Illinois 73-61.
They did.
Yep.
They just one of the Waukee kids just got the first triple-double in school history, which was super weird. Like the school
Oh
in
yeah.
program history, you get to Peyton Sanford. I think he just play out here at Waukee.
Oh yeah, Peyton Sanford. Yeah. Yep.
I found
Mhm.
that they've had a number of good players there. I was really surprised that was the first triple double.
Yeah. It's like, man, how many years have you guys been,
Yeah,
moving that little ball around? That's crazy.
and we had 2 this year. They were almost in back-to-back games.
Well, nobody talks about greatness. They'd rather, focus on or rather focus on, accomplishments that never happened in the school's history, which is mind blowing.
All right, so the men's tournament in earnest starts on Tuesday with some of the lower seeded teams playing one another to really play in to the tournament. Second round begins on Wednesday. The 2 games, or the 1 game I think that we have the most interest in is Kansas State taking on Texas. I have to admit that would be of interest to watch either of those games. Teams play against Iowa State in the following day because you'd have that return rubber match game against Kansas State. I think that our players would have a lot to prove. And obviously with Texas and the Tyrese Hunter, maybe to wrap up his career in the Big 12, that would be a nice game to be able to play and wrap that bow tie around his neck. And to beat Texas.
Absolutely.
So that game is, it looks like Wednesday at 5:00.
Yep. No, 6.
6:00. I don't have my glasses on today.
It's all right.
And then the Iowa State game would be then the winner of Kansas State and Texas, 6:00 down in Kansas City at T-Mobile Center. I like that game. You're talking about a Kansas State team that will probably be a little bit beat up after playing the night before against Texas and then having to go match up against Iowa State in that defense. I like that first game. Doesn't matter who comes out between Kansas State and Texas. Do you guys have either any thoughts on who you think will win that game?
Go ahead, Brent. I don't want to see Kansas State again.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I personally would prefer Texas just to, that's one of those. There's still a lot of bad blood with that Tyrese Hunter leaving deal. So I love to see that storyline a little bit more. So we'll see what guys are controlling the games behind the scenes or controlling the refs behind the scenes to see which build-up game they want to see. Because, it'd just be a rematch of a game that we played shitty. So nobody really wants to see that again with the K-State.
I don't want to play back-to-back. I don't want to play them back-to-back.
Yeah. At least we'll get a little rest.
And if we play Texas, I have to think that our fans will be there in full force, where if we have to play Kansas State, that'll be a little bit tighter from a fan perspective.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree. Be Hilton South, full effect.
I'm over Jerome Tang. I don't want to see him anymore. It's the biggest whiny ass baby I've ever seen. Has anybody ever went from a coach that was like Elite 8 and was, he was pretty well loved, I think, in the Big 12 to an absolute whiny ass baby this year? It's ridiculous. Every game he's lost, he's whined and cried.
Yeah. He has.
It's sad when now I think Bill Self is a better guy than he is.
So speaking of Bill Self, I see that Hunter Dickinson went out yesterday with a shoulder injury, so that leaves him in doubt for the Big 12 tournament. I'm going to assume that West Virginia, Cincinnati, I would probably choose Cincinnati to come out of there. I've been impressed by that team. Now, I've only seen them playing at home. I've not seen them play on the road, but if they come out of that, I think they'll give Kansas some troubles in that game.
I can see that too.
So if we're going chalk, the next game for Iowa State would be on Friday at, looks like 8:30, if my eyes don't deceive me. So Friday at 8:30, and more than likely it would be that Cincinnati KU winner or Baylor. Baylor would be the number 3 seed that I would assume would come in. I don't want to see Baylor.
I do. I want another crack at Baylor.
They scare me. That 2-3 defense, those long arms, I just think that's a recipe for disaster. But they've been scaring me for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a matter of which team you get, man. You know what I mean? If we're rested, I think we can handle Baylor no problem. So knocking out Texas, get to rest a little bit and be right back at it for Baylor. I'd take that matchup all day.
Also, Kansas loses. They're dumping those tickets. Yeah. Iowa State will be driving down there on a Friday evening. If that game's at 8:30, people can make that, leave in the afternoon and make that game and get tickets and fill up the arena.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have done that multiple times. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I'll probably head down there Friday night if that's the case as well.
Friday night. Well, I'll be here, so you guys live it up.
I think it's a road trip.
I'm not going anywhere. I got somebody coming over to work on my garage, so I'll watch the game in here.
I hope it's not a garage door. I just had that done, and it's not cheap.
No, I'm finally getting electricity, more than one outlet in my garage. Oh. Whatever moron built this house, put one outlet in the garage.
Oh,
like who does that?
Is it on top of the garage too?
I'm sorry, two. One on top for the garage door opener and one on one wall where I have my refrigerator plugged in. Like, people might actually want to work with power tools and stuff in their garage. People, you might want to have more than one outlet I can use.
I would think so. Yeah, that's going to be expensive.
Nope, my nephew's doing it.
Oh, that's even freaking better.
He hooked up my heater direct to the utility box, and now he's going to come over and put in some outlets for me. So
there you go.
I'm just paying for beer and materials. That's what I'm paying for.
Easy. Take that all day long.
So the top half, I'm going to assume it's Houston. I just don't see any of those other teams being able to compete against the Cougars. They're really good, and they've proven it all year. I believe they're going in as the number 1 seed overall for the NCAA and obviously for the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like our chances if that were to take shape. Again, that fan base, I think Iowa State crowd will fill up T-Mobile and take over, and it really will be Hilton South if we were to play Houston. So I like that. My only concern is that we beat each other up, and then we have to go into the NCAA tournament with exhausted legs.
Yeah.
Joe Lenardi on Bracketology has Purdue as the overall number 1 seed.
I would argue Houston's better.
I would too.
We'll find out. Well, they'll find out, I should say.
Yep.
Well, we say all this. I just don't think the Big Ten, they're okay. I mean, you're playing at this level.
I said that.
Right.
There's no comparison between the Big Ten and the Big 12. I'm sorry. So even though you're the number 1 seed in the Big 10, you didn't play anybody. You didn't play the caliber of talent that is available in the Big 12.
Yeah. Big 12 should have a hell of a show in this tournament.
Yeah, they've got to have, 7 or 8, surely.
Yeah. So I'm saying, they'll, I think they'll knock out quite a few teams, in my opinion, just because of the type of ball we've played.
Well, I think if you're looking at NCAA, obviously Iowa State, Houston, Baylor, Texas Tech. I think BYU gets in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Kansas is one of those teams where they keep talking about them being a 2 seed. There's no way they're a 2 seed this year. I'm sorry on that.
Yeah, not at all.
Probably Texas just because they're Texas. And then I think that what's that, 7 teams?
That's 7.
I think that you've got one of these surprise teams that's probably going to be dependent upon how they do in the tournament this week. Yeah. But I can see TCU sneaking into there. Maybe Oklahoma.
So Lenardi has 9 Big 12 teams listed.
Wow.
And if you're looking at the standings, then, after Kansas is Texas, TCU, and Oklahoma. So,
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they have the most, they have the most bids at 9. SEC's got 7. Big Ten's got 6.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 has 2.
That's crazy. But I mean, rightfully so. Best ball is being played out here. Right.
That's
now.
right.
Yeah. 12, so it's only fair.
Any predictions on what seed? I know we're still a week away. We've got some big couple games coming up this week. Any guesses on where Iowa State sits? Do you think we're a 2 or do we slide down to a 3?
No, they're a 2.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that back. If they lose that first game, they could drop to a 3, as bad as they've played lately.
Yeah, I don't know. The last couple weeks, I don't know if that hinders them being more of a 3 seed. I mean, I don't know. So where does 3 land on the bracket?
Yeah.
They would play, super high seed. I mean, I could see a 3 seed being fine. I think we're more of a 2, but we need rest, man. Guys playing 30-something doggone minutes. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I'll pose the question. Is it worthwhile to lose that first game, get the extra rest, get a 3 seed? I don't know that there's that much difference between a 2 and a 3 seed.
You lose Omaha.
Well, that would be a problem.
Yeah. You wouldn't have Omaha to play at. That's the problem.
Yeah. And you want all the advantage you can take in the tournament.
Right.
So
yeah. You win one game in the Big 12 tournament, you solidified that too. Now you might still have it after losing because your resume is that strong. But man, I'm always nervous because that committee always looks at what's going on right now, and they have not looked very good. I mean, they had to pull something out of their ass against BYU. They were down 14, middle of the second half. So, little breaking news, by the way, Iowa State Wrestling is the Big 12 champs.
Hey.
So that is breaking news. I saw we had 5 in the championship round.
Yeah, and they're not even done wrestling yet. So, but they've sewn up the championship. They tweeted out 4 minutes ago. So,
well, in other news, then, as we're talking a little bit about awards, Taman Lipsey was named All Big 12 First Team earlier this afternoon, as well as All Big 12 Defensive Team. Keyshawn Gilbert was named to the second team All Big 12 and was named to the All Newcomer Team. And Milan Momcilovic was honorable mention and named to the All Freshman Team. So some of the men's basketball players getting some awards. I have not seen Coach of the Year being named yet. It has to be TJ, though.
No, it has been named. Let's see. I'll find it. Go ahead. Those awards came out today, too.
If it wasn't TJ, I'm going to assume Kelvin Sampson. And I would
so
disagree on that one. I mean, they were the
Player of the Year, Jamal Sheed. Freshman of the Year, Jacoby Walter. 6-man award. I disagree with this one. Jackson Robinson for BYU. That should be Curtis Jones.
Yes.
Curtis Jones should win that. Most improved player is Delon Diso from Texas. Coach of the Year was Kelvin Sampson. Newcomer of the Year, Hunter Dickinson. What a joke. I hate that guy. So
at KU, yeah.
Yeah, he's such a – if his last name isn't perfect, Dick. Sheed won Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. So
he's for real, though. I've been nothing but impressed. And I've seen him play some other Big 12 games, and that guy brings it. There's no doubt about it. Every game – when they need a basket, he's their guy. We talked earlier in the season about Iowa State. Who's the guy that you get the ball to if you need a last-second shot? And Smead is that for Houston.
Yeah.
That guy's
He's a bucket
tough.
getter. Finds a way.
All right, we ready to talk a little bit about women's basketball?
Yeah, you want to take a break and then we'll come back?
All right, let's take a break and hear from our sponsor, Revelton Distillery.
Why take the best corn in the world and make it into fuel when you could make it into whiskey? That's the question that launched Revelton, Iowa's most visible and fastest growing distillery. Owners Rob and Christy Taylor embrace the grain-to-glass philosophy, sourcing ingredients locally and overseeing on-premises production and bottling at their facility in Osceola. One sip, and you'll agree that Revelton's handcrafted whiskeys, gins, and vodkas are the best you've ever tasted. And with the launch of their rye whiskey, made with 100% Iowa-grown rye and corn, and their new bourbon coming soon, there's more Revelton to love than ever. Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
All right, we are back. I am trying their vodka. I was telling Chris before we got started, I've made some poor choices with vodka in the past. and I thought I would try it. I think Chris's wife is laughing because she probably is aware of some of those.
No, that wasn't my wife. I think it was somebody in your house.
Oh, great. So that's what I'm drinking, with a little bit of Sprite. And as soon as I took a sip, I remembered some of that history and I thought maybe I should not be drinking the vodka tonight. But that's my choice for this evening. Thank you, Rob and Chrissy Taylor.
I did find that video for you, Dave. So
awesome. So as we come back from break, talking about the women, we are in such, this is a great time to be a Cyclone, right? We've got the men, number 2, having an outstanding year. And really, I think what goes maybe neglected at times is the success that the women have had this year as well. There was a lot of turmoil towards the end of last year and some transfers. And all we knew is we had a talented group of 5 freshmen coming in. And Emily Ryan, there's questions that whether she would go or stay. And she stood up and said, I am staying. Fought through some injuries at the beginning of the year. And it has been so impressive to watch the women do what they've done. They secured a number 4 seed, had a tough game against Baylor earlier this year, and then came back. I was a little nervous about this second Baylor game in the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City that happened yesterday, because Baylor is just one of those teams on the women's side that have, now granted it was under Kim Mulkey, who's now at LSU, but Baylor is just one of those preeminent teams in the Big 12, and they have been for some time, that you aspire to be. And so they came in as the 5 seed, and the women took it to them. They had really had a battle, and it was a fight. It was a dog fight to the finish. Mm-hmm. The women came back and won, and it was a huge win by Bill Fennelly and the Iowa State women. I don't know if either one of you watched it, but I sat there with a great deal of pride to watch that game, and I had been thoroughly impressed by the women.
I was at the shop, so I didn't get to watch it, so I kept kind of peeking down and checking the phone, trying to follow the box score in between customers and stuff. So I hate I didn't get to see it, but I'm glad the outcome was exactly what we wanted.
Well, Audie Crooks, they just go down low to her, and they couldn't stop her. Yeah. And once they got the lead, and then you had Emily Ryan, drilling 4 free throws to seal the deal. And I tweeted this out. For what that girl went through, whatever it was at the beginning of the year when she had a private medical issue or whatever, for where she's at now, man, kudos to her. She's tough as nails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is. And Audie is, I saw on Twitter yesterday as well, she is now the number 1 freshman scorer in Iowa State history, whether men or women. And a familiar name has fallen to number 4. Sir Marcus Pfizer has moved down to number 4 on the list, with Audie Crooks as number 1. And by the way, Curtis Stinson is number 2. Lindell Wigington is number 3. So she's jumped ahead of the rest of the list on there. The top 6 that are shown, Audie Crooks is number 1. The rest are men's players. So kudos to Audie for being the number 1 freshman scorer in Iowa State history.
Man, big shouts out. She is a monster. I can't wait to see her in the tournament.
I know.
I just want to see what teams are going to have answers for her. I can't wait to see it.
The women are playing really well right now. They're fun to watch. They pass the ball. The 3-point shots are going in, which then opens up underneath for Audie Crooks. And Addie Brown's able to drive and kick. And they're so much fun to watch. And watching the post-game presser with Bill Fennelly yesterday almost brings tears to your eyes. And he got very emotional at the end. Chris, do you have that?
Yep.
I wish I was smart enough to really tell you how proud I am of you, how much I love you. That was amazing. It really was. It was a great game. You beat a great team. And, all the stuff that we talk about every day about being resilient and doing the hard stuff and embracing who we are. But please enjoy what you just did. Don't worry about what's next. We'll figure it out. And for the last 90 seconds of the game, there's no team in the country tougher than you. Cared about one another. You competed for one another. Energy on the bench was the best it's been all year. That's the way this is supposed to be. All right? Congratulations and thank you for what you do for Iowa State. Here we go. Let's go, Mike.
1, 2, 3,
All right. That was taken from the women's basketball, probably Twitter site or Facebook site, Chris.
It was their Twitter account.
Probably need to give them credit somewhere, but that was fun to see.
Man, that guy, you can tell him and Coach Mack are damn good friends, man.
Yeah.
Listen to him talk and just, kind of personally just closing my eyes and thinking back and listen to some of the speeches after big wins and stuff like that. You can always tell the guys that run together. So that's a hell of a coach and Finley, man.
Take us back. Is there one in particular that you remember, whether it was a win or loss, that just stuck with you all these years?
None in particular. I mean, just more than anything, just Coach Mack's sincerity about it all. It wasn't just, coaches are known for bullshitting you. You know what I mean? But while you got some of that, it was more of the, this is, honest, completely vulnerable. This is how I'm feeling about you guys. Love you guys, the whole deal. Because he's definitely a coach that when he said it, he meant it. Because I can see him now, and the guy still, remembers things about me, the family, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And to have so many players, and for him to remember everybody, oh, your mom, you're this, you're that, like,
yes,
there's no fucking, that's a genuine guy, you know what I mean, to store all of that stuff and remember it over all those years. So
I when we had Coach Mack on Old Man Strength, out of the blue, he starts talking about his love for Coach Fennelly, and immediately was like, if anybody should have a statue, it should be Coach Fennelly.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legend. What he built from that program, and then a couple months later, we ended up having Coach Fennelly on, and I did not know. He remembers specifically how many fans were in the stands at his very first game, and it was 315. And he said he said we used to go out. He said no joke. We used to go out to the retirement homes and things like that, and recruit people to come watch the games and give them free tickets so that we could get people to come to the games just to watch basketball. Like it's crazy where they're at now, right? And now they're filling up Kansas City. As that place sounded loud yesterday in that game versus Baylor.
Yes,
it was loud. And Audie Crooks got screwed because she should be all Big 12 Freshman of the Year. I don't know how she didn't win that either. So
well, most of her stats were even better than that Texas player that was named. And forgive me for not having that name right now.
I'll look it up.
I was surprised too that she wasn't named Freshman of the Year or Player of the Year. Forget Freshman of the Year.
Madison Booker.
Yeah. Good player, but boy, for what she's done for her team, Audie Crooks should be number one.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah, crazy.
So, of course, this game was coming off the heels. Emily Ryan announced, Thursday or Friday of last week that she is returning. She's going to utilize that COVID year, which Brett,
Are we
do you
done
wish
with
you had a
those
COVID
yet?
year? Do you have a COVID year where you can come back and play?
Shit. Man, no. I ain't even thinking about it. I don't want to do anything but stand on the sidelines these days.
He just got brand new knees. He just got brand new
I got
body
a new
parts.
hip.
Right. Yeah.
I got a new hip, man. Let me let this thing live for a little while, you know. I don't even want to go outside and jog, let alone do anything else at this point.
Surely these COVID year, this has got to be the last year, right? I was trying to. Stacy
it
asked me about
has to
this
be.
today. Stacy asked me about this today.
years
So if that was 2020, if you were an athlete in 2020, which means you were a freshman, this is that's got to be it, right? Whoever is a senior now, that's it. They can take one more COVID
if
year.
you were, yeah, because what if you could have been a red shirt in 2020?
Oh, dude, you're killing me.
I bet
you might be right now.
I'm
I think
serious.
you
I
might
think
be
it's got to
right.
be one more year. I think it'll be after 2025 is probably done.
That's
I think
crazy.
COVID years will be done because I'm sure you could transfer in as a freshman from somewhere and then you're still
probably
just trucking away or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Well, I can imagine these talented freshmen with another year of Emily Ryan. I mean,
yeah,
I would say women. I would expect them to be top 3 in the league, top 2 maybe, and have some consideration for being ranked fairly high next year with all the talent that's coming back.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
And if memory serves me, I think don't they have a McDonald's All-American that's coming in next year as well?
Ooh, I think so. Let me look here. Keep talking. Don't wait for me.
So that would be interesting to add her to the mix. Obviously, we don't know if there's any transfers. That's always something that I think under today's transfer rules, we have to be aware of, that we may not, while we would hope and expect to see all of those that are eligible to actually return, there is a risk that we may see a few transfer out for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's always a risk, unfortunately.
So Allie Tanky, who plays for Johnston, is a 5'11", 4-star guard.
A guard at 5'11".
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
And then Reagan Wilson from Noblesville, Indiana. These are just the 2 that have committed so far. They don't have her ranking here. So,
although if I'm Coach Fennelly, I'm going to remind any girl that's even considering transferring, look at the girls that transferred last year. They did not reach the heights that I think that they all wish they would have reached, nor did they get the playing time that I think that they desired to have.
Yep. Remember the panic in the fans last year when they were all leaving and everybody was all up in arms? Yep. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm talking about you, Dave.
Well, as a fan, though, it made you wonder what the hell's going on if everyone's transferring out. Now, you see all the freshmen coming in, you go,
okay, that makes sense.
That makes some sense. So you can't really complain too much about it, but at the time, we all wondered.
Crazy. I want to ask a question, Brent, on a completely different subject. Do you see that Arch Manning opted out of not being in the new NCAA video game?
I did. I don't.
What is with that? I don't understand that.
I don't understand the tactics behind it. I mean, I don't know, man. The kid's wealthy already with his family and the whole deal. He's like, maybe he doesn't want to take any more spotlight away from Ewers until he actually gets to play, I guess. I don't know. That was a different move. But I think in my mind, if anything, he's trying not to. I don't think he wants to take any more spotlight from Ewers at all. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But shit, I don't know. I don't give a damn. It's a competition because we're trying to get to the same place. So we're gonna make each other better, and we're gonna compete.
Well, and I give him credit for sticking around. We've had a lot of those discussions on this show about transferring and whether you or Marcus would have transferred if the rules had been in place at that time. And your belief is no, you committed and you need to stay with the program. So I give Arch credit because it would be very easy for him to transfer at this point.
Oh, for sure. But he's I'm sure he's getting a nice, healthy little bag to keep him
Right.
there too.
Yep.
Healthy little bag because those
And
pockets
Matt,
are deep in Texas.
Can you imagine though what he was probably offered to leave though? Because I was told, well, we were told, Dave, at the bowl game that Rocco got offered 6 figures.
Yes.
7
Really?
figures, over $1 million to leave, and he didn't leave.
Really?
Yep, he stayed.
Hats off to him.
Yep,
that's tempting.
It
would depend on where you go, right? But
now again, his dad played in the NFL. They're not
Right.
exactly hurting for money, so maybe
100%.
But I don't know, man. It would have been hard to pass up.
Shit, yeah. That would have been hard as hell to pass up.
$600 in a free game. I'd sign up for that right now anyway.
Well, that and just to be in the game,
yeah,
because you don't know what's going to happen. Let's say he comes in game 7 or 8, tears his knee, and he's done. Yeah. To be able to be in that game, that's forever.
Right.
I think I would sign up for it just to be in the game.
I got the old games that the old NCAA games that I was in for that reason, just to have.
Oh, yeah.
Just to say that out, you know what I mean? Just to have, but don't have the old Xbox that works to play it. But shit.
So did you buy?
You can go to Jay's CD and Hobby. I'm sure they got what you need.
I should go to Jay's because they got a ton of that stuff.
They do.
Great idea.
You need one to play and one never to open.
That's a great idea, but at this point, I don't think there's any unopened copies. That's 20 years ago.
You know what? I didn't realize when COVID hit and I knew I was going to be working from home, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go buy some old video games. And I thought, I'll see if I can find one of the old NCAA games. Dude, they were on eBay for like $180. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
High as hell. Yep. Because
like,
when I ordered mine during COVID and I paid like $70 for it. Yeah, 70, $80 for it. It's like, damn. Inflation's crazy. It was like $25 when I was in college.
But it's worth every penny.
100%, man. 100%.
I know. I may have to break down and buy a PlayStation 5 when that game comes out.
There you go.
I'm getting excited about it. I was standing
PlayStation gets no love.
College Football Hall of Fame, and somebody was sitting there playing in NCAA. I think it was one of the older ones, but you get that sort of excitement as a kid in your stomach, and your heart starts beating a little bit. You get a little sweaty watching it, going, "Oh, I want that game so bad."
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah, I'm definitely copping it.
I hardly ever play my PlayStation anymore either. So,
yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll allow us to be able to create players, and we'll add you back in, Brett.
Yeah. Make sure I'm 99 on everything.
I'm making Marcus. I'm going to put Marcus in as a tight end.
You should.
We're going to have fun.
Build an all-Cyclone team.
There you go.
Basketball and
one of the games, and I don't remember, we probably have it stored somewhere, but you could take the mascots and play mascots against other mascots. So everyone wants,
that was the most recent one, the NCAA football.
Was it?
So
I think 14 was the last one.
My son and I sat down. We played Cy versus Herky. It was fun.
Yeah. It might have been an older one. And I know that was a version when I was around, so early 2000s.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So another football news, as we're talking a little bit about football, we now have an offensive coordinator. Taylor Mouser was named as the offensive coordinator and tight ends coach. I'll be curious to see if that has any sway with the quarterback room. I guess I get a little nervous with JJ still pretty young and Rocco that we could see some movement now with one of those two.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, man. I talked to, so ironically, JJ's younger brother, Jace, is a Giant. He's our quarterback for my son's 10U 7-on-7 team.
Okay.
So he slings that thing around. So he's walking a pretty solid path. That kid is.
That's the reason why you brought the hardware home.
Oh yeah, a huge part of it. Yeah, Because at 10 for 10-year-olds, I haven't seen a quarterback yet that's anything close to Jace.
Wow.
At that age, he can throw the ball wherever he wants to and makes good choices and stuff. And I was like, got a couple good years of running with this guy. Can't wait. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know, man, because I talked to the Coles a little bit and, just curious about what it looks like. But I know JJ is gonna work his butt off to see if he can't make a run at that starting nod. So
good.
We'll see.
And I've seen some of the football videos that they put out with their spring practices going on in preparation for the spring game, which again is 420. And I've seen
that's a hell of a day.
Some JJ sightings in those
Right.
videos, so he's still around.
Oh yeah, April 20th. Okay.
I think that'll be a good day to have a spring game.
I'd say so. I didn't realize there was some smoke in that picture either online. I wonder if that was on purpose or not. But
Say what?
On the Cyclones website, it just says that Iowa State to hold a spring game April 20th. I was like, it's kind of smoky.
Shut up. Where's that at?
This on the Cyclones website. It's the view from the sky.
Oh.
It don't look like no clouds to me. That's all I'm saying.
Who is running their social media now?
Hold on, I'm looking.
It's probably some intern somewhere.
Oh my God.
A little shameless. They're like,
Right.
spring game. I've
Okay.
never seen this.
So we're going to see a big spike of everybody.
Those are
checking out
definitely
what's
not clouds. I'm just going to tell you, those are not clouds. It looks like a little haze.
All right, so Chris is going to pull it up
Haze.
here for those of us who are watching. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, just saying.
That's hilarious.
Looks a little hazy, not
A
necessarily
little hazy,
cloudy
right?
from that
Right?
view. I love it. Some young guys running in. Oh, 420? Got the perfect idea.
I've got a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I am getting confirmation, but we will have Coach Mauser on the pod.
There you go.
Our good buddy Keith Schrage, who played under Jim Kreiner and was a GA assistant under Walden, who's kind of hooked me up with some guests and stuff on Old Man Strength. He texted me last week and said that he was good friends with Coach Mauser, and he's kind of working out the deal for us. So
there you go.
if not next weekend, maybe the weekend after. But
That'd be a lot of
nice,
fun.
Be nice to have Coach Mauser on. So yeah. So
Yeah.
And Chris, speaking of Old Man Strength, you've had some great guests coming up. You want to share a little bit about who you've got coming on the next
Tuesday,
couple of episodes?
Tuesday, we have Mike Green, who is the president of the Cyclone Letter Winners Club. We're going to bring him on and talk just some history of Cyclone sports and things like that. If you don't follow his Twitter account, you should, because he tweets out some pretty cool archive stuff and things like that. Yeah. And then 2 weeks
he's
after
the one
that
pulled out the old Iowa State helmet that got everybody up or excited.
Yeah,
right?
Thought they were going to do some throwbacks with the with those, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to bring that back, don't you? I mean, that was sweet. That little cart with the big yellow helmet on it.
I know. Yeah, and the little sports looking car thing that they had that was on the field. Did you see that too?
Yes, we need to bring some of that back, and I'm sure that there's insurance reasons why they don't do it, or maybe it broke down. I don't know, but put it in the corner where the old hot tub used to be. Bring that back too.
How crazy would the stadium go if Cy rides out in that little golf cart with the helmet on it?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be great.
Put that helmet on that gator that he rides. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
So, oh my God. Yeah. And then 2 weeks after that, we have Brooks Reynolds, who is the chairman of the Bacon Fest here in Iowa. That's world renowned and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And the last episode we had Tim Kriesman on, who played with Keith and is the one that developed the pizza for We Will. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. I enjoyed that one as well. And you've had some good guests here on False Starts. You had Ross Peterson on last week.
Yep.
So more new content there. And shocking, Hot Mess Happy Hour. They had a nice episode last week as well. So
Yeah,
download that, take a listen.
They had a segment on Heather and Sean's show on KXNO, and we have a couple new pods getting ready to launch in a couple weeks. So yeah, we're growing. So
a lot of fun. So the women, as we wrap that up, the women play tomorrow at 1:30 against the number 1 seeded Oklahoma Sooners. That will be a tough game. There's no doubt about that. But boy, if they can pull that out, the next game following is either Texas or Kansas State. And again, I'll come back to Hilton South. If Iowa State's playing Texas, that game is going to be Hilton South, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue that it could be that way tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 against Oklahoma as well. So that should be a good game. And then again, the men play Thursday evening against the winner of Kansas State and Texas. So we've got some great games coming up as we head into consideration for next weekend. So next Sunday, we should have a great show being able to break down the NCAA tournament, where everyone's going. For those of us in Central Iowa, we've got a lot of activity between the Iowa State men and women. We've got the Iowa women. We've got the Drake men and women that are in the tournament as well. So, boy, just a lot of fun. I did nothing but sit on my butt yesterday watching basketball. It was a fun day.
Man, I wish I could do that. One day, it's going to happen. I'm thinking on that. One day. One day, I'll be right there.
Your son was in there helping you out on Saturday. Just turn the keys over to him.
That requires yeah, not quite.
Not yet.
Not quite. Yet. Nah, not yet. Small baby steps, man. Just taking baby steps.
Brent, are you going to the Kansas Iowa State game that's going to be down in Arrowhead Stadium? Are you going to make that trip?
Probably.
I think we're going to make a road trip down there
rocking
too.
all of my Cyclone stuff too.
That's right. That's my boy. That's my man.
Not a KU dad yet.
That's my man.
You're still a year away, right?
There. Huh?
That's still a year away before you have to make that call, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he knows.
Now if
you give me something, it's better say KU dad. I'm not just rocking KU gear.
I'm just saying what you should do is drive that Brandon ambulance down there and tailgate that full Iowa State ambulance. That's what you need to do.
I should.
That'd be so
that's
great.
Not a bad idea.
Just walk out with just a little KU flag and just have that, and that's your dad commitment. And then,
yeah, that's
oh my God,
yeah.
I know. I'm full of great ideas.
All right, Brett, it's good to see you again. And Chris, thank you for helping us navigate through some of the internet stuff and finding some of those links. We appreciate it. And that has been another episode of In the Side of the Storm, sponsored by Revelton Distillery. Before you head out for the Big 12 tournament and in anticipation of the NCAA announcements next week, and stop by and take care of our sponsors. We appreciate all that they do for us. And we'll see you next Sunday for another edition of In the Side of the Storm.
That's it.